why do these white boys feel empowered, or why are they empowered by black men to talk shit about the culture, and in this case particularly about a black woman? What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Welcome to another episode of the MSR Pod. I'm your host, Adam Butler, in the building by myself today for the most part. I'll explain. Let me go ahead and explain to y'all why you're just seeing me and not the crew, all right? First and foremost, shouts out to Black Man Span. He's a little under the weather today, so he could not record today. This is Nargis' night off, okay? And Brother Smooth had other obligations, so everybody's going to be on the Friday episode, okay? Going to have everybody on the Friday episode. And by the way, for those of y'all that's wondering about LT is definitely still down, definitely still here. We have not been in the studio. And LT primarily works in the studio. He's our in-house producer. He makes everything work in the studio. And we haven't been in the studio for a minute now, so we haven't. LT has not been polished. Also, LT has things going on in his life that are super, super dope that he's pursuing right now, but he will be back with us the moment we step back in the studio, and we will be getting back in the studio really, really soon. It will be a new studio, unfortunately, but it will be a studio. We'll be getting back in there real soon. But, we'll also be doing this virtual thing and a couple of other things too. So let me explain to y'all what's going on today. I'm rolling solo today, but we do have a segment that we recorded about 2 weeks back about Adin Ross that we ended up cutting out in the other show because we had some tech issues. We had to cut it out of the show, but it was a really good segment. And P and I were really trying to figure out like how to use it. We was thinking about, maybe throwing that on Patreon, just, releasing it independently as a segment. Well, tonight presents the great opportunity to do that. So it was myself, Nargis, and Paul. Okay. Paul had a couple of tech issues of just being real with y'all. So you're going to see him in and out of that segment. But we talked about Adin Ross. We talked about what was going on with Glasses Malone and all of that. I know a lot of y'all been hearing about this for weeks, but, as we tend to do, we took the conversation to a different place, and I was very proud of that conversation. So I'm happy to be able to share that one tonight. It's going to be a shorter episode, okay, because we're really just going to have that segment and a few other things, okay? So, yeah. Rock with me tonight, man. I'm rolling on my own tonight, all right? Let's get through the stuff. If you want to follow the show, follow us, MSR Tribe on Instagram, MSR Tribe on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, Mindstream Radio. Follow us on TikTok, the MSR Pod, okay? If you're watching us on YouTube right now, rate and review. Do that if you're watching us on YouTube right now, go ahead and subscribe to the show, hit that notification bell, okay? Comment on the show, share the show, hit the like button, all of that, okay? If you're listening to us on all podcast platforms, we are on all podcast platforms. For folks that just like to ride around in the car or just like that old school podcast feeling, we are on podcast platforms. Remember to rate and review the show, comment on the show, share the show, let people know that you're listening, all right? Shouts out to everybody that's been supporting the show. And I do want to take a little minute to talk about that, since I have the opportunity to just really have this one-on-one time with the audience. Content creation is in such an interesting spot. Matter of fact, before I jump into it, let me just show you a clip real quick.
With the Sit Your Ass Down Award.
Okay.
So who or what needs to take several seats right now?
I'm going to have to do, just because it's a Sit Your Ass Down Award, that sounds like sass to me. I know I left the Y out. It seems like Stephen A. Smith. It just seems like it lines up. Right? It seems like, and honestly, there's the parts about me, but, he's constantly attacking Black women. Like, I'm trying to figure out what Black woman hurt you, honey. Somebody hurt you bad. And then, but even beyond that, because we can deal with our things, it was him and this Minnesota thing. And so he literally was like, I'm going to tell y'all the law. You got a law degree now?
When did you get a law degree?
I'm just trying to figure this out. Like, the constant caping for the con in chief doing a straight disservice to everyone that listens to him. So it would go to Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm sorry, but you are this week's recipient of the Sit Your Ass Down Award.
All right, so that was Jasmine Crockett on the, what's this show called? At Our Table podcast. All right. And clearly she's talking about Stephen A. Smith. We talked about Stephen A. Smith on the show. Shouts out to Panama Jack, came on to talk about Stephen A. and the critique he had for Representative Crockett at the time. We've mentioned it quite a few times. I'm not here to necessarily talk about Stephen A. Smith or Jasmine Crockett. I'm here to talk about this new obstacle that people like herself, politicians, and just people in general have to deal with, which is the new age of content creation. Content creation is in such a weird space. And as when we came back, we had a couple of goals. You've heard them before, to be anti-red pill, to be anti, pod, to kind of offer balance. As we enter, this is what, our 24th episode? Wow. Our 24th episode since being back. The show has matured a little bit. We're finding our pacing, finding our footing, gaining an audience. And we hope we're gaining the audience and finding out what we want to be. And what we want to be more than anything, yeah, we want to be funny. Yeah, we want to have a good time. Yeah, we want to entertain you, and inform you, but we want to be responsible. So when I hear that clip about Stephen A., my biggest issue with Stephen A. Smith and a lot of content creators now, as opposed to when we were on air before we ended this original run of the show in 2018, okay? We ended the run of mainstream radio, MSR, the MSR Pod, in 2018. We originally came on air in 2007, right before Obama was elected, okay? And the landscape has changed so much. Most people got their information from cable news at that time, okay? Cable news. Now people get their information clearly from podcasters, streamers, content creators, and AI, frankly. Where Stephen A. Smith plays into that, and the example that that he sets for all content creators is someone that is jumping into something because he sees an opportunity. Stephen A. Smith, don't get me wrong. Stephen A. Smith does not need our money. He likes money, I'm sure. Okay. But he does not need our money. He's not getting in it for money. He's not just one of these guys out here and, like myself, right? I'm not in it for money, but like me and the team, we're rebuilding this thing. It's been years. Some people don't even know who we are anymore. He's not trying to make a name for himself necessarily. He's just latching on to an opportunity to extend his career. He sees the end of the road when it comes to sports. He sees it. He knows it. A couple of years ago, he was saying he wanted to be the host of The Tonight Show. Okay? He guest hosted The Tonight Show a couple of times. Maybe not The Tonight Show, but late night TV, maybe Colbert, one of those, right? Didn't really latch on. Can't really see Stephen A. Smith being the next host of the late night show on said network. But what he did kind of catch on, and remember when he started the Stephen A. Smith show originally, it was kind of like a pseudo sports show, pseudo kind of pop culture show, similar to what Shannon Sharp does, right? He was reading tweets about dating and shit. He was having his nephew on. I don't know if he still does this stuff. I don't really watch the Stephen A. Smith show. But the thing that really caught on for him was his political opinions. And his political opinions caught on because he's a black man that's willing to challenge other black people. He's a Democrat that's willing to challenge other Democrats. So now he's on the Cuomo show. Now he's on, these pseudo-conservative shows. He's willing to go there, and he's willing to say things that he feels other Democrats and in particular liberals won't say. The problem is, and I should give context on this. I've never been a big Stephen A. hater. Even doing like the Kaepernick stuff, I was not a Stephen A. hater. I always kind of understood where he was coming from. I didn't like when T.O., kind of outed him and went on him in the shows, and how people would pit him and Max Kellerman together. I was always kind of pro Stephen A. Smith, I can't lie. But my biggest problem with him now is that I feel like he's out of his depth. He's in the deep end of the water. He doesn't have a lot of information, but he feels the need to talk. He plays both sides a lot. He'll say something salacious and then catch a lot of heat and then come on and kind of gaslight people and say, that's not what I was trying to say at all. And I don't know. Did y'all like that, Stephen A? I don't know. Maybe you didn't. I don't know. Maybe I won't do it again. Sorry. That's not what I was trying to say at all. But anyhow, and to me, that's dangerous, especially now. I was trying to make that point when we had Panama on. I think he agreed, but the more and more he talks and the more it becomes about him and the more it becomes about, you know what, I'm just going to be a contrarian, right? If everyone agrees with this, I'm going to disagree. If everyone's saying this, I'm going to say that. It's dangerous. And that goes for all content creators. And there are great content creators out there. There are great podcasters out there. Deontay Kyle is dope. You know what I mean? Mark Lamont Hill, we disagree on some politics. The Jill Stein thing and all that, I don't agree with. But for the most part, Mark Lamont Hill is here to deliver information. Native Land Pod. We agreed on the Queen's Flip thing and all that. But my boy Bakari is on that show. I've known Bakari for a little minute now. Worked with Bakari. Really trust Bakari's word. He's on that podcast. Dope podcasts out there. And for people that just want to be entertained and not want to be, bogged down in the political space and just want something different, there are a lot of podcasters and content creators and YouTubers out there. Rap Latte, King Green and Torre, Justin Hunt's pod. There's so much out there, man, that is nutritious for you. And as we go through our content creator journey, our podcast journey in this new landscape, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what feeds the people, what doesn't feed the people, what feeds us and what doesn't feed us, right? What works for us and what doesn't work for us. The main thing I've just landed on is, if anything, we just got to be responsible, man. And I would say that to any of y'all, listen, we got a comment on our page recently. People, my team hates when I bring up comments. I know, and a lot of people that love me, close to me, don't like when I read comments. But we got a comment that was pretty nasty recently, and one of the main things they said was they looked at our subscriber count and they was like, yeah, well, if you've been doing it this long, you should quit. And of course, that's whatever. I'm definitely not going to quit. Whoever you were, we are definitely not going to quit. This show is new again. It's a reboot of something we were doing before that was very popular. And because of that, I am an OG podcaster. I've been in this game for a very long time, professionally and on my own. Paul Spann has been in this game as long as me, okay? Smooth and Nargis has been podding with us since about 2008, 2009, okay? Smooth has been podcasting with us since 2012. LT has been with us since about 2015. We all outrank a lot of people when it comes to time and sweat equity, okay? And for me, I did not stop podcasting in 2018. I've had podcasts with Fox Sports. I've had my own podcast. Butler did it, okay? I podcast professionally. I am a professional podcast producer and executive producer of a podcast network, okay? So I know the game. But even with that, this new landscape is a new wrinkle, because as beautiful as it is for everyone to be able to cut on their mic, get a 3-camera setup, get a lighting kit, and start a podcast, that means there's a lot of voices. And those voices weren't so problematic in 2016, 2015. Maybe they were in 2018, but not as problematic as they are now. If you're going to be talking in this mic, You must offer nutrition. Your content must be nutritious in some way. It could be silly, and the nutrition could be, yo, we come here, you come and let your hair down and have some fun. If it's informative, make sure you're saying the right thing. Make sure you, and what I mean by the right thing, it's not what's going to make everybody happy. It's what is the truth. Okay? It's not lost on me that one of the biggest celebrities in America, Stephen A. Smith, is doing this thing all wrong. If he were listening to me right now, he would tell me I'm doing it wrong. Well, my numbers are higher than yours. He would say that, and I know it. He would tell me that maybe I should learn something from him. I could feel the rant. If he would ever see this little podcast, I can see the rant and the response that would come. But the truth would still be the truth. You're doing this wrong. Your voice is powerful. Now's not the time for your come up. Now's not the time for you to play the algorithm game. Now's not the time for you to play the rage bait game, dude. It's just not. People need the information. Doesn't mean you got to love Jasmine Crockett. Doesn't mean you need to love this Democrat or that Democrat. But you do need to know what you're saying. You do need to know what you're talking about. You don't need to be first. You may think it's working. It may feel like it's working. Hell, to you, it may be working because you're getting attention. You're getting clicks. You go viral. You say something wild, and then ABC calls you, or NBC calls you, or CBS, or whatever network calls you, CNN, and they want to do a one-on-one sit-down interview with you, and they ask you about running for president. All that's cool. All that's cool. But you're hurting people. You're arming them with disinformation. So you're not arming them, you're hurting them. And it's not good. And that goes for anyone else that want to jump in this game. You don't got to take it from me. Look at our follower count and dismiss us. Fine. It'll be up by the end of the year. I promise you. We are on our way. We almost back. We almost back. We will outwork everyone. Okay? So be dismissive of us now. But remember that I was on this podcast and my team would agree. Okay? I was on this podcast letting you know that at the end of the day, we're going to speak our truth. And if we're wrong about some shit, we're going to say we're wrong about it. Because the job is not to lie to you. And playing the algorithm game, all that's about to end too. People are going to want authentic shit. People are going to want it. They already want it. Okay? So again, take it from a 20-year podcaster. Content creator. Take it from me. That's started over. This show, me, Paul Spann, Nargis, Brother Smooth, LT, we started over. We didn't have to. We all had good lives. We all have good lives. But we love doing this, and we missed this. Take it from us. The people that keep it real and the people that keep it true, people that keep it authentic will win. If you keep it authentic, you will win. You will win. Certain people that I was just talking about got big numbers and sit-down interviews, but they losing it every single day. Reputation tarnished. Ask yourself if that's what you want. Ask yourself if you want to contribute to what's going on out there. All the shit we talk about on this show all the time. Ask yourself if you want to contribute to that. Or do you want to help people feel a little better in these times? Or actually inform people during these times? What you want to do? All right? That's my little rant. Had to get that out the way. All right, so listen. As I mentioned before, we got this Adin Ross conversation. It was a good one. Myself, Paul Spann, Nargis really got into it. Nargis had a lot of good thoughts on it as just like a black woman. So we really wanted to sit back and just listen to her. And I hope you enjoy it, all right? We're going to get to that right after this break. All right. So this show, we say, is anti-red pill, one of the biggest reasons we came back out. At the core of the show, it's a political show and a social show. And you know, we talked about these streamers and these guys just kind of had like this chokehold on, like, especially young men, in many cases young Black men, and how it could impact. We usually talk about how it impacts us politically, but we don't often talk about how it impacts us socially, which is just, if not a bigger deal, to be very honest. Adin Ross, somebody we talked about on this show a couple of times, is a scumbag son of a bitch. And he gets off on talking shit about Doechii. One of the main reasons he talks about Doechii is because and it always comes back to this, y'all. I'm so sorry. Listen, this thing was a big cultural movement. I try not to talk about the battle, but it is about the battle. It's sadly about it. It's one of the lamest parts of it, frankly. One of the lamest parts, which is these streamers and these goofies who are just so team, you know who, that they'll do whatever to defend him, right? Even when I don't even think he's asking for this type of defense. Real shit. The Doechii thing is quite literally about her connections to TDE. Okay. And every time Doechii does anything, Adin Ross goes off on a rant about how she uses bots, how her streams aren't real, how she's an industry plant. All that is actually whatever. But then he goes on to call her an unintelligent bitch, a ugly bitch, a stank bitch. Like, he's called her every variation of bitch other than the one he probably would love to say, which is nigga bitch. I'm serious about this. Okay, this dude is wild. Okay, and he's been doing this a couple of times to the point where former rapper, well, he probably still raps. I probably shouldn't call him a former rapper, but rapper and streamer Glasses Malone, West Coast dude, has threatened to quite literally beat Adin Ross's ass.
On site.
He has literally threatened to whoop his ass on site. And this thing has gone on. Adin Ross, I mean, the thing these streamers do when you come for them, they make a career out of it. Okay. So Adin Ross has done 100,000 things since we mentioned talking about this in our group chat just a few days ago. Okay. So he's gone to academics and talked about how dude comes from me. I'm calling the police. He's had academics come on and say you probably shouldn't. Yeah, he's had academics come on and say you probably shouldn't fuck with him because this dude is a rich white boy.
He got the police with him and all that.
He's had Whack 100 have his back. He's made a song about Doechii with Tekashi 6ix9ine. That's hella disrespectful. He's doubled down on his comments. Joe Budden has gotten involved and basically said, yeah, I think that they should put hands on Adin Ross as well. This thing has turned into a thing. I don't think I need to ask what you all think about Adin Ross. I think I'm assuming we all agree. Piece of shit. Scumbag. What I want to ask is, why do you think a white boy, regardless of his affiliation with Drake, let's take Drake out, you know, they're both being sued right now in a RICO lawsuit.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, they're both being sued for bots and gambling. But regardless of his affiliation with Drake, a lot of people still stream with him. They still stream with the other dude. I forgot his name, but he got busted out on the Breakfast Club recently for talking about Cassinat's mother and calling her a Sojourner Truth looking bitch or some shit. It's just like, wow, shit. Like, these streamers are wild. Okay, but Black people, Black men in particular, still continue to go and stream. In fact, when one of his last terrible, disrespectful rants about Doechii, there was a Black dude sitting right next to Adin Ross. And I would run these clips, but we keep getting copyright hits, so I'm not running no clips on the show no more. There was a Black dude sitting right next to him, jokingly going, "Don't make fun of the Black queen like that. Don't make fun of the Black queen." My question to you all is, why do these white boys feel empowered, or why are they empowered by Black men to talk shit about the culture, and in this case particularly about a Black woman? P, I'll start with you, and then Nargis, you can go.
First off, for the record, fuck Adin Ross. record. Let that be noted. I think there's a myriad of reasons why white guys are emboldened nowadays. For one, the element of privilege is just going to always be a thing. It's just a thing that exists here in America, right? Secondly, with both this regime and with how large and powerful the new streaming, Twitch, all of those type of things, it's a lot of money and a lot of fame and infamy in that, right? Now, why these black guys choose to coon it up with these people, I don't really know. Like I know that we had a lot of conversations about the way that that some young black men were feeling going into the last election cycle, right? With being being overlooked and feeling and having feelings of being out of place and different things like that. Whereas people can come in and kind of infiltrate and try to make you feel like nothing that you're doing is wrong and it's this, that, and the third. And so I think that has a small element to do with it, but like just feeling free to sit around and let these white guys just go hard on our women is like nuts. But I think that it's not something that I don't completely understand when I look at these people are trying to get money. They're trying to align themselves, with these people for whatever element of popularity. Like I haven't really paid a whole bunch of attention to all of the streamers, but that's like amongst the only thing that I can think of. The climate of the world and money. Like other than that, it makes no sense whatsoever to me.
Let me jump in, Nargis. I know I want you to answer because I'm really curious to see what you think about this, but I didn't want to jump in real quick. We've opened the culture up. So essentially, we allow a guy like Adin Ross to dress like us, talk like us, comment on our music, comment on our culture, be a tastemaker in our culture. One of the biggest rappers in the world aligns himself with this person, stamps this person. We have given away the recipes, okay? And now some of these people bundled up with their privilege that they already have feel like one of us. This dude is calling Crips and Bloods up.
That's so crazy.
And like you said, the money piece of it, him, Trap Lord Ross, all these people, right? And again, these are people I probably pay attention to way more than y'all, and I admit it. I'm sorry. I'm chronically online, and I like to watch this I'm into this silly shit for whatever reason. But these guys Trap Lord Ross is a guy from the UK who does in-depth studies on rappers and how many bodies they have. And he speaks as an authority. Adam 22 speaks as an authority. All Adam 22 does is sit down with LA gang members and get them riled up. One of the biggest things that happens on his show is dudes just start fighting and shit. Whack 100, all them are regulars on his show. Okay, Vlad TV, all these people, they range in scum. Okay, I actually am not that angry at like a guy like Vlad, but like Adam 22 or Adin Ross, or these people, they have become the tastemakers and voices of a culture that is about black and brown people. It goes back to my Dave Chappelle point. Dave's still talking to us, but it's a world of people watching.
Involving themselves.
A lot of shit goes over their heads. The thing that we care about, three black people, when we talked about Dave, is the Jack Johnson point. People are ignoring that because it don't make sense to them. Because they don't know who Nipsey is. They kind of heard of T.I., but they don't really understand that T.I. riding around Atlanta and what that mean. Same thing. When Adin Ross gets dressed like us, talk like us, act like us, but on the other hand, do an interview with Trump, give Trump a Rolex and wear a suit. So he gets the code switch. and be Mr. Whitey White with Trump, but then sit around with just dude and talk like us, act like us. Yeah, you allow him to call a black woman a bitch because it's no different than a nigga calling a black woman a bitch. In that dude's mind, it's no different. He don't even see it. That dude, they don't see a white boy. They see money, they see opportunity, and they see massa. And I'm being real about that. We have given away the sauce. We've given away the ingredients. And that's why we do have to gatekeep on shit. And we do have to call out. And we do have to say, hey, yo, this ain't for you, my dude. If a black man stands up to a white boy about calling a black woman a bitch and a black dude defends that white boy, there's no way you're right. It's impossible. Okay? There's no way you can stand there and say, it makes sense for me. Unless that black woman murdered someone in that white boy's family or some wild shit. Okay? There's no way you can make sense in your mind and go, damn, I got to have the white boy back unless he paying you. And unless you have lost your way. Unless you have lost your way completely. It's that simple to me.
Yeah.
Nargis.
I'm writing notes.
I noticed you doing that. I thought for a couple minutes I see you. I was like, she writing notes. I gotta give it to her. I
I'm
appreciate
writing
this.
notes
Yeah.
because I have
You're
a
saying a
mommy
lot
brain
here.
now.
Right.
All right, so I didn't know who the hell Adin Ross was
I figured.
because the concept of streaming is stupid to me.
Word.
But
We're gonna
respect,
live stream the show one of these days, though. Just
Make y'all-
take it.
and that's
take it
you know
easy.
what I'm saying. But it's just
I'm
like
messing with you. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm just yeah.
make your money,
Yeah, no, I'm messing with you. Go ahead. Go
right?
ahead.
Make your money. But the first thing I did was have to look up how old Adin Ross is, which is 25.
Yeah, was a child.
Right? It's a child.
My son is 26.
You were born 2001.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anton is an exception. We're not talking
No,
about
I'm
Anton
just
here.
saying that he's around the same age.
Right.
You know, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So it's like Anton is an exception, not a rule. So broadening this out, that generation is weird when it comes to race anything. So I think for that black man sitting next to that white man jokingly, he was literally like mocking what he's probably heard
Yeah.
older heads say.
Yeah.
Right? Because the impact and the weight isn't as significant. I think that yes, we're not gatekeeping. We're allowing our culture to be loose, whatever. But like, let's be clear, it's not appropriate for anybody. I shouldn't be out here calling Doechii a black anything other than a beautiful black woman that she is, a beautiful black queen she is, right? I shouldn't be out here calling no woman out their name unless they've done some dastardly stuff, right? I think this broadens out to that larger community when it comes to feeling like Black women and women in general are not defended by men. They're not protected by men. They're not cherished by men, right? I think that's that gap that we speak to a lot. So when you have these, because I'm not hearing any peers. I'm not hearing Castanat saying, hey, chill, wash your mouth.
Yeah.
You know? I'm hearing the old heads like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
What bruh say?
Yeah.
Oh, no, how did we let it get that far?
Right.
What happened here? Right? So I think there's a generational barrier that's happening here. I think, yeah, there's an educational piece because so many of these kids are just very far removed from those soft skills. And it's not necessarily their fault. But it's like these streamers are just like you're 2026 Howard Stern.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're literally just, your job is to feed the trolls.
Yeah.
So you feed the trolls what their diet is.
Yeah.
Which is outlandish shit. So I don't have a high moral expectation or standard for you, for Kai, for any of these other high streamers. Because there's a certain price of integrity that you have to pay to reach that level of success that you have to reach. Just based on, again, I don't consume like that.
Bless you.
But I feel like anytime I hear streamers come up, it's in this type of controversial, like, age gap way, like Kai said, not recognizing somebody.
Right.
I saw a video of him with Tiana Taylor, and I think some dude that was with him said nigga, and Tiana Taylor was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And Kai's like, no, he cool. His daddy black as shit is cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
and then they go back to dancing again.
I think that
That don't mean he cool. That don't mean he was raised black.
Right.
That just means he's half black.
You should check him. Yeah.
That don't mean anything. That doesn't mean his lived experience justifies using it.
Right.
And again, I think this is a generational conversation. I think this is a gendered conversation. And I think the fact that he feels emboldened and empowered to say whatever the hell, regardless of the company that he keeps, it just speaks to a larger issue outside of him being a douche.
You know what I'm
In
saying?
fairness, I hate to compare Kai and Adin Ross, but they are boys. So yeah, well, at least I think they're boys. If I'm wrong about that, I stand corrected. But to your point, he has definitely never come on and said, hey, Aiden, cool that out, right? In fact, he's just sort of minding his business. And I think that's he's probably investigating a bunch of stuff about his content and himself. That's why he hasn't been on air a lot and why he's been talking about his mental health. And I think that's a good thing. But everything with the streamers and the people on that side of the world is all just jokes and fun to the kids, to the Andrew Schultz of the world and the bro comedians is always like, at the end of the day, I'm just joking, having fun. Nothing's that serious. And I think we are getting to a point where people are tuning out from both of those things and just trying to find genuine entertainment, genuine news, genuine whatever, right? Genuine streamers, right? The I Show Speed Kid, all he does is just do weird athletic shit and just do flips, and that's genuine, like, fun. You know what I mean? And so I do agree with you, but it has to be checked because there are a lot of, and I think this falls on men. Because I think the point you made about black women, and this is something that comes up a lot. Every show I've ever done for all of these years, it's always come up that black women don't feel protected by black men. And one thing I don't think that black men have done, and I could spend 2 hours here trying to explain why, but I don't think it matters in the long scheme of thing, is just gone, you know what, you're right. Let me just go ahead and protect you. We usually try to explain why. Or we do a bunch of what abouts and what if. I mean, not what about us? What about this? Or comparisons and whatever. And some of that has some merit. Some of it about black men's mental health and men's mental health in general, and black and male loneliness and all these things are real. But these conversations that men have to have with men. I 100% believe that. We can't have that conversation with y'all because you're saying you're not protected. And that's like if my wife comes to me right now and like, I don't feel protected in this house. And I go, well, I got the flu and I've also had a bad day at work. And it matters, but it doesn't matter in the fact that my wife don't feel safe in this house. Right.
She
So
doesn't feel safe at the end of your list of things.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to figure it out. And
Yeah.
because we're in community with each other. In the case of me and my wife, we're in a marriage. In the case of black men and black women, we're in community with each other, right? So Glasses Malone and Joe, who has his own problems and definitely said that Doshi uses bots and all that and called her industry plant, he got to own that. But I appreciate Joe, who has his own problems, at least finding a line and being like, yo, all right, now y'all niggas taking it too far. It's one thing to just talk about her maybe being an industry plant and maybe I don't like her music, whatever. It's another thing to go at her and call her all of these names.
Right.
And on top of it is a white boy and there's a bunch of black dudes just sitting there giggling about it, right? So Glasses of them are making the first step. And hopefully young boys will see a dude like Glasses and Joe and whoever else decides to step in and say, I think Paul might be coming back, and say, yo, maybe that's an example I need to lead. Maybe that's how I need to. Maybe I never learned how to protect black women. Maybe I never really figured it out. So now I see how to do it. And that's a good step. But the second step has to be, we got to counteract that entertainment. And we got to, as black men, we got to have conversations about why it is important to not only protect black people, okay, but to specifically protect black women. And I know to a lot of black men, it sounds like a trope. Again, I wasn't going to mention this, but again, I watch other shows, I consume other content. I got other content creators that I respect. And one everybody knows, I'll talk about them, Van and Rachel. I watched this show. They got into a big argument today because Rachel mentioned black men, caping for Adin Ross, and Van took it personal. And Van started saying, why can't we just talk about the hero in the story, which is Glasses Malone, defending black women without mentioning that black men are caping for Adin Ross? And Rachel was like, because they matter just as much as Glasses Malone. That's who Glasses Malone is checking. You know, he could whoop on that white boy. He gonna whoop the white boy to show the black dudes. It's like if you're a grown man, we don't condone violence on the show. I gotta say it, but if you're a man, and a kid picks on your son or your daughter or whatever, right? We've all heard about the story of being like, "Where your daddy at?" Let me go get. Or you pick the biggest person in the room or the loudest person in the room, and you make an example. That's what whooping Adin Ross would be. Glasses Malone know he could punish. It would be to show, right, that your savior ain't really your savior, and I can come for you next. I hope he never has to do any of this.
Right.
By the way, I'm serious.
Right.
I really do hope that Glasses Malone does not have to go beat up Adin Ross. Okay. But the threat of it and the seriousness of it, and P, I'm gonna let you get the last word on this. The threat of it and the seriousness of it, to me, I respect, because I do think all of us, I'll put myself in it. I won't speak for you, Paul, but I'll put myself in it. We have ignored black women for a long time, whether we agree or disagree or not. At the end of the day, we have allowed it to get to the point where the white boy, it's not good when black people do it either. Don't get me wrong. One cool when niggas was doing it, but we have allowed it to get to snowball so much that now this white boy really feels cool just being like this funky, dirty, whatever B word about a woman who just makes music he doesn't like and happens to be affiliated with someone that beat his man in a rap battle. This is stupid. It's stupid. It sounds stupid coming out of my mouth. And it is stupid. So, yeah. Sometimes we have to just step it up. We're going to have to. Go ahead, Pete.
Oh,
go ahead. No, go. No,
go ahead.
No,
Go ahead. I go after you.
quick. No, that's sweet. No, we just lost the value of chivalry.
Yeah.
I think that's really, because yes, we can get into the nuance of like the plight of black women and black men and our dynamics and slavery. We can get into that, right?
Yeah, a whole movie about it.
We can get into that, right? Psychology. Do men not think women need to be protective because most women are their own providers now?
Right.
That's a whole rabbit hole, right? But at the end of the day, your character as a man and the way that you were raised, regardless of race, creed, color, there's a certain degree of respect that you're supposed to extend to women,
Yeah.
even those that you don't like, don't agree with, don't like their talent, think they're stupid, whatever. That chivalry still creates a degree of decorum that you conduct yourself with, that the internet doesn't let you really be all that financially successful by conducting yourself with. So I think if we just make chivalry dope, it would just go a long way. You know, we were doing the parody with the half zips. Let's move on to just being fucking polite.
There it is. There it is.
Like,
there it is. B, go ahead, bro. Last word on this.
I was taught protection of women from my mother, and when I mean that, I mean she literally said that to me. Literally said, "Son, you have to protect women." That's what she said to me. I think that it's important for us to still push back against these streamers and against these, just because they have such an influence on the younger generation. Right? Like Anton, my son, had the fortune of me being his father, and the same lessons that were taught to me, I taught to him in regard of stereotype, in regard of chivalry, what Nargis is talking about, and all those things. But there are some of these kids who these streamers and who the internet is like actually raising.
Yeah.
So for them to be influenced by this, and then for what you were talking about, Nargis, that just the thought process and element of chivalry be so far away from mind, we can't just let that ride. I'm not saying that we have to take a crusade on streamers and all those things, but what I'm saying is we can't completely be passive in allowing these thought processes to permeate and only get bigger. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, the internet isn't going anywhere. It's not going to get less popular. Yeah. People already see that you can make money doing these things. Like these little young kids are multi-millionaires. Yeah. They're teaching streamer university. They're teaching these things. They literally have universities.
Yeah.
So this thought process can be taught. And then if you're a young, poor black kid, and you see, shoot, these people are making millions of dollars from doing this. Because every little kid, my nephew is 7 years old, watches to no end those YouTube videos of other people playing video games. Watches all of the streaming and all of that stuff. Like, it's a part of the way of life. Yeah. So while we could sit back and be like completely removed from it, because it's not something that we particularly pay attention to, something that Adam said, like, we can be into politics or not be into it, but they're going to always be affecting us. So
yeah,
like we have to pay attention to it and still continue to push morals, if not anything, both on our show and on our own personal pages, just to do our best to try to combat the thought process.
Yeah. I was trying to look up something. I'm not going to be able to look it up in time. There's a Netflix series, and will be my last word on this, but it's to Paul's point, because it's real easy, especially for us older folk, to kind of just be like, you know, these kids, and no one on the stream is saying that, but it is easy. I call this a stream, by the way. No one on this podcast is saying that. But it's real easy for just kind of ignoring, like, that's what these kids are doing. But Paul made an excellent point that these kids are so influential, and it ranges. You get silliness, like Nargis mentioned Castanet a few times. I mentioned I Show Speed early. Like, my son watches I Show Speed. He's always coming up here. I Show Speed did jumped over a car in a bummer, and it's like, you know, whatever. Castanet not remembering who Wale is fucked up and disrespectful, and Castanet needs to get that together. Wale I would like for you not to get so upset about things, you know, but I get
Cass
it.
and I didn't know a few people.
He didn't. You're right. Don't get me
It
wrong.
wasn't
I'm not.
just
Yeah.
me.
No. You're right. He was at the BET Awards. Dion Cozena.
Okay.
He was. Yeah. And again, that's on the older people giving these young kids these opportunities without researching and knowing what's up. So it actually speaks to my point. These kids are here. These kids are important. Okay. And a guy like Adin Ross and even academics to an extent, and I cannot remember the other dude but these guys are, like, as Paul mentioned, are multimillionaires, and they stream to thousands, if not millions, of people on a nightly basis and for hours. Okay. And we've seen it impact an election. Now we're seeing it impact a Black woman and how people are speaking to a Black woman and thinking about a Black woman, what we're allowed and how we're allowed to address a woman just in general. How far are you willing to take it with a woman? You know what I mean? These things are important because it's not a bunch of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that are watching this, right? It's not those young people. It's 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. So I was going to mention the Netflix series. My man Stephen Graham, you may know him from a bunch of stuff, but one of the bigger things I think, if you watch Boardwalk Empire, he played Al Capone. But he's in the show. He just won an Emmy or whatever the Critics' Choice Award. He just won that the other night for playing the dad of a kid who ended up killing a young girl because he was consuming red pill content. And so what a lot of this content does, and why I say the Adolescence, which is a great watch. Something like 4 episodes.
Great.
And it's horrifying.
Okay.
It's horrifying because this is just I mean, I just spoiled it, but it's just a little boy. He's like 14 years old, and when he gets arrested, he reacts like a little boy. He pisses himself. Okay. But when they break him down and they finally get him in there with the female psychologist, you see he hates women. And he hated this girl because the girl did not want to talk to him. It sounds simple, but this shit is going on. So when you, and it's something we actually going to talk about with Smooth on the next episode, when you see these reports about men that haven't talked to a woman, they 18, 19, 20 years old, they never approached a woman, right? They don't interact with women. They sit around and all they do is see stereotypes of women, and they watch Adin Ross called Doshi, who is a beautiful woman who embraces her sexuality, embraces herself, and he's calling her a Black, uneducated, dirty bitch. Or they talked about Kamala Harris the way they talked about, or whoever they don't like, right? It doesn't matter. I could get into it and talk about, well, it's because of the battle and blah, 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 blah. It don't matter. Okay? It don't matter, but very important people go stand next to these people because they want to make a buck and they want to keep their career going, right? These things matter because it's kids watching it. I said I was going to make this short, but I'm so sorry. It's kids that are watching this shit. It's our kids watching this shit, okay? And we need to take it serious or we are super fucked. I mean that. And I'm going to tell you what, Paul. Hey, Paul, not to cut you off. Paul, I'm going to tell you what.
Even if they do.
Thank you. I was just about to say, you were lucky enough to raise Anton in a time when streaming and niggas like Adin Ross, if you were going to find, Nargis mentioned Howard Stern earlier, and that's a really good point. But even Howard Stern wasn't as bad as these kids because at least Howard Stern was kind of funny. Okay. This is just literally, this is what I think about this, and it is what it is. So I don't know. Anton is a great kid, great man. I don't know how much impact you would have had. I don't know how much impact I would have had on Alex. I don't know how much impact. So we got to take it super serious. Thank God you weren't raising him during that time. Okay. And I don't mean to sound like an old curmudgeon here, but Black man right next to a Black white boy, dressed like a Black man with the white boy cut, with the fade and all that, bubble goose on, gambling with Drake, partying with all these people, calling Doshi out of her. I don't even want to say the words anymore.
Yeah.
Out of her name so bad. It's disgusting to the point where a grown man had to go, I'm going to beat up a 25-year-old. And I don't care if you call the cops, like, it's that bad. We got to do better. So Let us know what you think in the comments below. I'm trying to, y'all, by the way, you might notice I'm doing this now because, we're going to start putting these out in segments as well as a full podcast. So we want to get you all to know, share your opinion on these things. Let us know in the Facebook group or let us know in the comments below what you think about Adin Ross and Doechii and all of that. All right. All right, one quick thing before we get to the outro of this thing. And again, appreciate you all for tuning in. We're going to be keeping up. We've been talking about what's been going on in Minneapolis. We've been talking to a civil rights attorney. Going to have her on soon. So hopefully we get that booked for next week, okay? But another thing we have not talked about, we talked about Venezuela, but we haven't talked about this thing with Greenland. And the thing with Greenland, I think, in the beginning, a lot of people kind of just laughed at it. Oh, I want Canada. Oh, I want Greenland. And we kind of just, President Trump saying he wants to take over Greenland. And this time last year, a lot of talk about taking over Canada. We kind of just laughed it off. But I think we've learned now not to laugh off anything dude says. Like you just can't. It's just not wise to do so. So we're going to keep up with this Greenland thing. I don't have a lot of information on Greenland right now. I just want to let you all know that this is something that we're going to be touching on. We're going to try to speak with someone that has some expertise. In fact, if you're someone listening to this pod right now and you have, info or expertise on what's going on in Greenland, we'd love to talk to you on the show and come educate us and come give the audience that nutrition, right? But right now, the Greenland thing is picking up steam. It's getting serious. Our allies in NATO are basically throwing threats at us. It's bad. It's bad. President Macron, speaking in Davos on Tuesday, the French president Emmanuel Macron gave a thinly veiled critique of Trump's foreign policy, warning of a world where international law is trampled on under American foot. Okay, there was a guy that told Americans to fuck off. These are our allies. Greenland is an ally. What I do know about it is that we're an ally and that we don't, and there's a treaty that says we can build a base there if we want. We do. You don't have to take it. So it's interesting. But I want to learn more about it before I start really talking about it. I'm going to give you all that programming note that we will be discussing the Greenland thing here on the show very soon. And again, if you're someone that listens to the show, please reach out because we'd love to speak with you about that. All right. All right, let's get ready to wrap this thing up. Solo episode. Hope you all enjoyed that Adin Ross segment. The team is back on Friday. We celebrating some birthdays on that day as well. My birthday is tomorrow. Oh, 44, man. Listen, that's a lucky year for me, man. Anybody knows me knows the number 4 means a lot. I don't, I couldn't explain it to you right now if I wanted to, but my birthday is January 22nd, 224. All this number numerology shit that probably isn't even real, but for me, that number stands out and it means something to me. So my 44 year, hopefully it's a blessed year. What I will say is that, speaking on behalf of this show, it's the focus, man. We really focus and we're really trying to get where we need to be with this and provide the best show possible. And I hope you all are enjoying it. So, my birthday's coming up. And then by the time the show airs, it'll be the day before Black Man Span's birthday. So we'll be celebrating that just like we celebrated Nargis' birthday a few days ago, man. So shouts out to the whole MSR team and the January birthdays. Hope Smooth and LT don't feel too left out. They don't get to enjoy, and celebrate with all the Aquarians. All right. So we'll be back on Friday. Like I said, the whole team will actually be on that episode. Not LT, but Nargis and Brother Smooth and Paul Span will be on that episode. So be on the lookout. And we'll be back to our longer episodes. All right. Thank you all so much for all of the support. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for following us. If you don't already follow us on Twitter, MSR Tribe. Follow us on Instagram, No, I said it wrong. I knew I was going to fuck it up. I knew I was going to mess it up. I'd been on a roll. Ain't no Twitter. Forget Twitter, okay? I don't know where that one came from. Follow us on Instagram, MSR Tribe. Follow us on Facebook, Mindstream Radio. Follow us on TikTok, the MSR Pod, okay? If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like button, okay? Subscribe to the channel, all right? Hit the notification bell. Comment on the show. Comments really, really help, and we like having conversations with you. All right. If you're listening to us on podcast platforms, rate and review the show, share the show, comment on the show. All right. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back on Friday. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, remember to free DC. Remember to be great. And as my man Paul Span would say, elevate us. We're up out of here. Peace.